This man, a passenger in that car, frantic at the sight.
Let's do a new case, racketeering. These new racketeering charges tell you everything about where...
Group operating like an enterprise. In this new version of the case, prosecutors are no longer only focused on the alleged Quando Rondo retaliation plot. They are trying to connect older incidents, alleged messages, alleged money trails, music videos, lyrics, and people around OTF into one larger story. But here is what makes this so serious. Durk's defense is not sitting quiet. His lawyers are saying this new indictment is not a sign of strength. They are basically arguing that prosecutors are expanding the case because the original murder for hire theory was not as clean as the public was led to believe, so now the case has two stories fighting each other. The feds say they are exposing a bigger criminal enterprise. The defense says the government is dressing up weak evidence with a scarier label, and once racketeering enters the room, the trial stops being just about one shooting. It becomes about an entire history.
Weeks before trial, guy locked up for 2 years, and the government basically says, you know what, murder for hire, forget about that case. Let's do a new case, racketeering. These new racketeering charges tell you everything about where this case stands. For 2 years, you've heard that this is a very simple, straightforward, open and shut. We got all the evidence. They killed his friend. He paid people to go kill them. Well, that theory is now being broadly expanded so that the idea that this is for hire, no. The feds say, throw that out. It's murder in aid of racketeering because OTF actually has a subset of criminals and gangsters, and they're all involved in all these. Where Durk pulled the trigger in 2019, there's a where Durk paid for it in 2022. There's another one in 20.
Now, pay attention to what makes this move so dangerous. A normal murder for hire case is already serious, but it still has to be. Government need to make it bigger right before trial.
If you had an open and shut for hire case for a 2022, why is it that weeks before you're about to go to trial and cook you're adding racketeering charges and murders in different states from 3 different years and calling this the Banks gang enterprise? Look, I get why you're doing it. They're doing it because they need to get all this other evidence in before the jury so that the jury can say, oh yeah, this is a bad guy. Let's cook this guy. And whether any of that evidence has any weight, whether any of that evidence has any truth, here's the truth. The fact that they need it, the fact that they're trying to go get it tells you that this for hire case built on cooperators was not as strong as they were telling.
This is where the RICO-style pressure starts to matter. In cases like this, prosecutors do not always need every person to testify. Sometimes, they only need enough people inside the circle to start talking. And once the indictment grows, the pressure grows with it. Think about it. When someone is facing a regular charge, they may believe they can fight it. But when the government adds racketeering, murder in aid of racketeering, stalking conspiracy, multiple states, multiple years.
The new indictment takes 2
victims.
Defendants out.
The fear level changes.
OTF Vonnie, Kayvon Grant, and another guy, one of the shooters. So Vonnie, they said, was the guy who bought all the guns and arranged all the travel, and he was the orchestrator of this. Then they got this other guy, Keith Jones. He's one of the shooters. Well, both of those guys are off the indictment, suggesting that they have cooperated, taken pleas. But the new racketeering indictment, bringing in stuff from 2019, 2020, 2021, that suggests that those cooperators' testimony was not going to be enough to little.
But in federal cases, when defendants vanish from a superseding indictment, it usually creates suspicion for a reason. Either the government changed strategy, separated their cases, or those people may be helping the prosecution behind the scenes. And if prosecutors already had cooperators, but still expanded the indictment, that tells you this case is not just about one person talking. They are trying to build a whole wall around Durk.
So ain't nobody laughing at Durk. Now it ain't funny. Now your favorite rapper go to jail and look like he got a no bond like me. That boy got a federal no bond. You know you had put that hit out on that boy, so you been trying to avoid karma. They say karma is real. I say it ain't real. I say you reap what you sow. They say that's karma.
Now the story gets even darker, because the new indictment did not only bring in legal language, it brought in visuals, alleged messages, and another death that prosecutors want the jury to understand. One of the most shocking pieces being discussed is an unreleased music video connected to Durk's song Redman. According to reporting on the indictment, prosecutors claim the video shows Durk targeting an actor who looked similar to Quando Rondo. And in a normal rap video, people might say that is just entertainment, just art, just performance. But in a federal courtroom, prosecutors are trying to frame it as something different. They want the jury to see it as context, as motive, and as a message. Then there is the alleged text angle. Prosecutors are pointing to communications they say connect Durk's mindset after King Von's death to later retaliation. And that is the part that makes this case so explosive. Because the government is trying to turn grief, street pressure, rap lyrics, public. January 2022. Reporting says prosecutors connected that killing to alleged retaliation for D-Thang, who was killed months earlier in Harvey, Illinois. And the details are exactly the kind prosecutors love to show a jury. They point to timing. They point to relationships. They point to social media. They point to alleged money. They point to the people around the case and ask the jury to see a pattern, not a coincidence. That is why even something like an Instagram story becomes dangerous. On its own, a post might look like grief, loyalty, or street talk. But when prosecutors place it next to a homicide, next to alleged payments, next to lyrics, and next to witnesses, that same post can be presented as part of a bigger picture. And this is the trap of a racketeering case. The government does not have to make every single item look huge by itself. They stack small pieces until the jury starts seeing one large design. For Durk's defense, the mission is the opposite. They have to separate the pieces. They have to tell the jury that music is music, grief is grief, social media is social media, and allegations, they're not proof.
They got Lil Durk in a hole for basically some BS, and right now we're going to show the paperwork. They saying that he was caught with a cell phone, and basically that's not true. They trying to keep him in a hole, do a lot of things that they shouldn't be doing or whatever, but they're trying to make a point because they saying that me and him is privileged and we got so many things going on, and it's a lot.
And while the courtroom battle is getting heavier, the jail situation is becoming its own storyline. Reports earlier this year said Durk's lawyers complained about him being held in isolation for months over an alleged Apple Watch issue. That matters because before a trial even starts, the pressure is already building. No normal movement, limited contact, limited phone access, and when someone is fighting a case this serious from inside a cell, every restriction becomes part of the mental battle too. So when his family and supporters speak out about how he is being held, they're not just talking about jail conditions, they're talking about how the system is squeezing him before a jury even hears the case.
This is my last no jumper. Durk already told me I wasn't supposed to come back up here with that last.
Now look what happened to him.
That man got kids. You talking about look what happened to him.
Definitely not happy about him.
I wouldn't be happy if you go to jail, Adam, because I know you got daughter. Break it down.
There's multiple people who are no longer there for their kids as a result of that Durk allegedly called in.
Until they put that on black and white, sir. Stop throwing stuff on a black man who's trying to do something right for the community right now.
The feds have already put out a lot of information about this.
You don't have to put it out. You don't have to put it out.
So
this is a major platform.
You're not the boss of me. We talk about rap on here. I think it is well within our jurisdiction to talk about the fact
jurisdiction? What type of police is
been alleged to have ordered them.
This
free smirk though.
Free smirk. But also maybe
police platform. This some police.
To sit down for a little and decide, hey, maybe I'm not.
But even with supporters pushing back, the bigger problem is still the indictment. Once prosecutors add racketeering language and start tying multiple incidents together, the road home gets harder. At that point, bond becomes harder, trial becomes riskier, plea pressure becomes stronger, and every public reaction turns into part of the conversation. That is why creators, fans, and even people who do not like Durk are reacting so intensely. Because this is not just another rapper getting arrested. This is one of Chicago's biggest stars facing a federal case that keeps expanding instead of shrinking.
Jam.
That was wired.
Very ironic name.
Jam got
he
him
put
in a
everyone
jam.
in a jam.
Did 12 years.
12
got
years.
out, interviewed, said he kept it real, brought him cars, gave him 50,000.
Right.
This. Made mention that ain't no smut on his name. He ain't never been a rat. Caught a gun case.
Then, the internet did what the internet always does. It started looking for the person who talked. Every major federal case creates that one question: who cooperated? And in Durk's case, fans immediately started pointing fingers at people around OTF. One name that kept coming up online was OT, the moment that allegedly created that motive. That is why surveillance footage and testimony around King Von's death became so important. The government's theory is that Von's killing triggered public pressure, private anger, and eventually alleged retaliation against Quando Rondo. And if the jury is allowed to see that footage and hear testimony about what happened that night, the emotional temperature of the courtroom changes instantly. Because now, the case is not just about money, flights, cars, and guns. It becomes about grief, loyalty, revenge, public disrespect. Fans singing, "Slide for Vaughn," ops celebrating online, songs being made, interviews being clipped, comments being posted.
Right here, I got Chucky right here, I got Mando right here. Who you gonna be get first? Who you gonna be beat that?
What you on, big boy? And alive every day. Simple.
Well, I be asking about you. I be on you.
You know that.
You got going.
Working on EP, I'm feeling good as feeling good. I just rock it on live.